Good evening. I'll bring this May 28th regular City Council meeting to order. If you could please rise for the invocation by Rabbi Stephen Fuchs from Temple Beth Shalom, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilmember Dodd.
Mayor McPartland, Vice Mayor Jones, member of the City Council, it is my great privilege to be with you this evening, as it was to be with you on the 3rd of February when I had the honor of keynoting the commemorative ceremony for the 4 chaplains, gentlemen whose record of sacrificial service should continue to inspire us all. Eternal God, you have created us in your image and charged us with the responsibility of caring for your earth. You have created us as the only creatures capable of going to the side of a mountain, mining ore from the mountain, turning the ore into iron, the iron into steel, and with that steel to fashion the most delicate surgical instruments capable of repairing a human brain. But we are also the only creatures, O God, and we should never forget, who can go to that same mountain, mine the same ore, turn it into the steel, and build bombs and bullets whose only purpose is to kill or to maim. Eternal One, make us ever mindful of the great responsibility you have entrusted to our care. You have planted us in this Eden-like setting and reminded us you are in charge of my beautiful earth. But take care and know that if you should destroy it, there will never be another. Eternal One, our tradition offers abundant praise for those who take time from their busy lives to see to the needs and the welfare of our community. And so, in the words of our tradition, I pray, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamefazer brachot rabot al ele shemetaplim b'tzarchei hatzibur. We praise you, Eternal One our God, ruler of the universe, who has made us holy through your commandments, and who has spread abundant blessings on the lives of those who labor for the good of the community. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Rabbi.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Mayor McPartland.
Here.
Vice Mayor Jones.
Here.
Councilmember Dixon.
Here.
Councilmember Dodd.
Here.
And Councilmember Nunn.
Here.
Thank you.
All right. Council, any agenda modifications? That will lead us into proclamations. All right. First proclamation is for the Sebastian rowing team. You only got one, Tom, that you're it? Oh, okay. Well, they can all come on up, right? They did an excellent job. Congratulations. 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 Only a couple more days of school left. Congratulations. Congratulations. Must be the coach. Proud mom. Excellent. You're welcome. All right, this is a proclamation congratulating the Sebastian River rowing team for their multiple state championships and commanding performance at the FSRA State Championship regattas. Whereas the Sebastian River rowing team coaching staff believes that rowing gives every athlete the opportunity to improve and can be used as an educational experience that can generate enjoyable and unforgettable moments for each student athlete's life. And whereas in this past history-making month, with only 16 rowers, 75% of the entries were in the A final, racing for championships and medals. And whereas head coach Tom Lang's vision in leading the program is to prepare the student athletes for their futures in the classroom, on the water, in the community, and in life as young adults through teamwork. And whereas the Sebastian River rowing team in 2025 added 3 team state championships, bringing their team total to 27 state championships, including its first ever in the women's junior quad sculling state scholastic championships, boys pair sweep state scholastic championship, and the boys freshman 4+ sweep overall state championship. The girls freshman 4 also placed 3rd overall at the sweep state championships. And whereas the focus, endurance, and hard work each student athlete has demonstrated over this last year contributed to the team's success at the state championships, the future possibilities are endless for each of them as they continue to work hard and support each other. Now, therefore, the Sebastian City Council is proud to recognize the Sebastian River rowing team for their amazing results representing our community at the FSRA State Championship Regattas, and we hope success continues to follow each student athlete as they begin their young lives.
Yeah, next year we'll be more championships than the Yankees. That's right. Thank you for honoring us, and these amazing rowers. It's nothing to do with us coaches. It's how hard they work on and off the water. And for those of you who are just hearing about our team for the first time, we have won 27 state championships. We've had over $2 million in scholarships to our rowers that attend college for rowing, and we have plenty of rowers that represent our community very well as alumni and even parents of rowers currently. And we can't do this without our community, and thank you guys for your support. And we hope to have more of a presence on the river here again this summer. It's such a great time, and please don't hesitate to reach out and find out more about our team. Thank you.
Can't hide that shark pride. Thank you, guys.
Next proclamation is for code enforcement officers. Richard? This is for Code Enforcement Officers Appreciation Week, June 1st through the 7th. Whereas code enforcement officers provide for the safety, health, and welfare of the citizens in this community through the application of the building, zoning, housing, animal control, fire safety, environmental codes, and ordinances. And whereas every day, assisted by support staff, they attempt to provide quality customer service for the betterment of the community. And whereas too many times their efforts go unnoticed, even after code compliance has been accomplished due to their efforts and expertise. And whereas the Florida Association of Code Enforcement has declared the first week of June to be set aside by local governments to honor and recognize their code enforcement officers and support staff. Now therefore I, Bob McFarland, Mayor of the City of Sebastian, do hereby call upon all residents to observe the week of June 1st through the 7th as Code Enforcement Officers Appreciation Week, and encourage citizens to join City Council in expressing our appreciation for their dedication and outstanding service. it's mainly about compliance, not giving out tickets, and that's what, they always work with you. Richard's knocked on my door quite a few times, and so.
20 years.
Right.
I got 20 years in. Thank you very much. I appreciate the acknowledgement.
All right. Thank you, Richard. Finally. Wish we had two of these. See? All right, this is for the Sebastian Historical Society. Come on, you all coming? Or just gonna let you go? All right. How you doing, Patrick? All right.
All up there.
Come on, this is big doing, right? All right, this is a proclamation celebrating the 40th anniversary of the Sebastian Area Historical Society, whereas the Sebastian Area Historical Society was established in 1985 with the mission to preserve, protect, and promote the rich history and heritage of the Sebastian area and its surrounding communities, and whereas for 4 decades, the Historical Society has played a vital role in collecting and preserving historical artifacts, photographs, oral histories, and archival documents that reflect the unique character and legacy of Sebastian, and whereas through educational programs, public lectures, walking tours, and museum exhibits, the Society has worked tirelessly to engage residents and visitors in the importance of local history and community identity, and whereas the commitment of volunteers, board members, and community supporters has sustained the Historical Society's mission, ensuring that future generations may understand and appreciate the region's past, and whereas the 40th anniversary of the Sebastian Area Historical Society is a momentous occasion that highlights not only a remarkable milestone, but also the enduring value of preserving our shared heritage. Now, therefore, the Sebastian City Council hereby recognizes and congratulates the Sebastian Area Historical Society on its 40th anniversary and urge all citizens to reflect on the importance of our local history and to support the continued efforts of the Society in preserving the stories that shape our community.
Thank you.
Tell them when the hours are.
You want me to plug it? Yeah, all right. No, I grew up here in Sebastian. My parents moved to Sebastian in 1957. I went to school in the old schoolhouse, so this is my town. And, you know, I try to keep it as clean as I can and tell people the good stories. But at any rate, come and visit our museum. We're open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, 11 to 2. We offer private tours. If call in and we'll set something up and you can come in and have at it, you know. And it doesn't cost you anything but your time. People come into the museum and they say, what's the fee? And I say, fee's your time, you know, just whatever you want to pay with, or put it in a fishbowl for a donation. So anyway, I just want to thank everyone. And I wasn't here for these 40 years, but you know, we're going to keep plugging along and trying to make things, you know, history be taken care of in Sebastian.
And you guys were extremely helpful for the centennial, where we got a lot of information to help us out. All right, Mr. Vice Mayor, you want to do the brief announcements? Give me a moment to catch my breath.
Yes, sir. Sure can. We just give a couple moments here for them to get out there, I think so. We only have one tonight, so.
First proclamation was quite the tongue twister.
I passed.
Yes.
All right, for the rest of you all that's in here, we have one announcement for tonight, Friday, June 6th, the City of Sebastian's summer kickoff concert at Riverview Park from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. It will be featuring Hot Pink.
Mr. Mayor,
Any other announcements? Yes.
yes, I want to introduce Bridget Akins, my new hire. She's been with us for a couple weeks now. This is Bridget.
Hi, Bridget.
Thank you.
All right, any other brief announcements? That's right. Exactly. All right, that leads us up to public input. Now is the time for anyone from the public wishing to speak on a matter that's not on the current agenda. Anyone on Zoom?
No one has raised their hand at this time.
Close public input. And I'll recess the city council meeting and convene the Community Redevelopment Agency. Item A, consider approval of draft April 23rd CRA minutes.
I move approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Vice Chairman Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Dodd?
Yes.
Mr. Nunn?
Yes.
And Chairman McPartlin?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Accept item B, consideration of a purchase order for Coleman Fire Protection for $79,300 to install law enforcement dockhouse stations and authorize the city manager or designee to execute. Mr. Benton?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'll take this item. I apologize, but our procurement manager, she is out of the office under the weather, so I'm going to take her items tonight. So before you tonight, at the last meeting, you all had approved the waiver of the procurement method due to not receiving any bids within the RFP for the dry dock to be, or dry hose, fire hose to be run on the law enforcement dock. So back before you tonight, underneath the CRA, because we are utilizing CRA funds as the 50% match for this project. 50% of this is funded with a Florida Inland Navigation District grant in the amount of $39,650. The other 50% is utilizing CRA operating funds in the amount of $39,650 for a total expenditure of $79,300. So if you have any additional questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Council, any questions for Mr. Benton?
I move approval.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this matter? Anyone on Zoom?
No one has raised their hand at this time.
Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Ms. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Dodd?
Yes.
Mr. Nunn?
Yes.
Chairman McPartlin?
Yes.
And Vice Chairman Jones?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Leads us up to item C, consideration of addendum number 1 to CSA 04 for Coastal Wide LLC to provide swing and bench park state and federal permitting not to exceed $5,820 and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement. Mr. Benton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this item before you is an addendum to our existing CSA agreement with Coastal Wide. Coastal Wide was selected to handle the engineering and design for the swing and bench park. Initially, their cost proposal included them applying for permit waivers, exemptions through the state. However, once we processed all of those documents and with some of the plans that were shown, we were denied the exemption. So now it's coming back to you all for them to go forward with the state and federal permitting in the amount of $5,820. This will involve them applying for the permitting and following it all the way through the process and providing any necessary documentation to the permitted agencies. And so with that, we request approval of utilizing CRA funds in the amount of $5,820 for this addendum to the CSA.
Any questions for Mr. Benton?
Is there anything that we could have done differently to help us not get approved?
Yeah, we honestly, in discussions amongst staff and with the consultant, we fully expected to be exempted from the permit
Right.
requirements. I just think at the end of the day, sometimes it comes down to who reviews it.
Okay.
But at this time, they did come back and determine that we didn't qualify for the exemption. So we do have to go forward with the full packet and apply for all permits required.
Okay, thank you. I move approval.
Second.
Get a motion and a second. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? Anyone on Zoom?
Not at this time.
All right, roll call, Ms. Williams.
Mr. Dodd?
Yes.
Mr. Nunn?
Yes.
Chairman McPartlin?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Jones?
Yes.
And Ms. Dixon?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'll recess the Community Redevelopment Agency and reconvene the City Council meeting, leading us up to item 9, the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I move approval of consent agenda item A and B.
Second.
A motion and a second. Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Councilmember Nunn?
Yes.
Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Dixon?
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Leads us up to committee reports and appointments. Item A, consider filling 2 unexpired alternate member vacancies on the Natural Resources Board. Ms. Williams?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have 2 vacancies and I have 2 applicants tonight. I only asked for your indulgence in making that 7/1/2025 an additional 3 years for the first appointment, and then the second appointment for 7/1/2026. So if you could do them separately, or if you don't want to extend it,
Okay.
that would be up to council's discretion too.
Council, I wish to proceed on this.
Yeah, I can make a motion on the first one. I move that we waive the advertising requirements for the appointment ending in July 1, 2028, and that we appoint Frank Tremeline, is that saying that
Trinkle.
right?
Frank
Okay.
Trinkle.
We reappoint Frank to fill that position through July 1, 2028.
Second.
Roll call on that one, Ms.
Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Dixon?
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
And Councilmember Nunn?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
And then I move that we appoint Deborah Schellebarger to the term expiring on July 1, 2026.
Second.
Very good. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, congratulations and thank you for your service. All right, leads us up to public hearings. Item A, second reading, public hearing and adoption of ordinance O-25-08, amending Land Development Code, Article 5, zoning district regulations to incorporate a new zoning district known as mixed-use zoning district. Madam Attorney?
Thank you, Mayor. This is ordinance number 02508, an ordinance of the City of Sebastian, Florida, amending Land Development Code Article 5 zoning districts regulations to incorporate a new section 54-2-516 to be known as mixed-use zoning district, providing for severability and repeal of laws in conflict herewith, providing for codification, scrivener's errors, and effective date.
All right, Ms. Bernard.
Good evening. This is the second and final reading for the mixed-use zoning classification. As you will see in your agenda packets on page 54 and 55 are the first call-outs where the changes have been highlighted to have restaurants with or without drive-through facilities as part of what your recommendation was from the first reading. And so all of that has been clearly delineated for you. In further review, staff has looked at our zoning codes throughout the entire city as far as restaurants and professional office buildings with drive-through facilities, and everywhere else in our code, it is listed as a conditional use. And there are certain parameters in Article 6 that are established that go with that conditional use, such as landscaping, screening, distance from residential developments. So wanted to bring that to your attention, that this will be different from the way it's written in the rest of our code.
Council, any questions for Ms. Bernard? Yes.
Somebody, okay. I don't know that, I think I agree with it being a conditional use. And I'm not sure what kind of problems it might cause you for it to be permitted as far as reviewing mixed-use projects as opposed to conditional. Drive-throughs are a unique thing. I mean, you've got issues with turning radiuses and where the windows are and so forth. Would you prefer it to be a conditional use that gives you some more control over it?
I believe that would be more consistent with the existing code.
Okay. So to do that, that means that on second reading, we need to modify this from having the permitted use to say restaurants with or without drive-throughs have that with or without drive-through stricken and have the item under restaurants excluding drive-throughs under conditional use re-added. Is that correct? And would that be on all three of these classifications?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, if I can clarify one thing. So, what's stricken on page 55, restaurants excluding drive-through facilities, that would be restaurants including, restaurants with drive-through facilities would fall underneath that conditional use.
Would you say with or without drive-throughs, so you can have, or just, is it the only conditional use going to be restaurants with drive-throughs?
So under permitted use on page 54 would be restaurants.
Okay.
And then under conditional use on page 55, and it'll follow underneath the other elements of this, but just using this one as an example, it would say restaurants with drive-through facilities.
Yeah.
And then we would obviously make that change on pages 57 and 58, and then also once again on page 60 and 61. Sorry, 60 and 62.
All right. And I have another question if I can. The layout of this actually is almost like a style guide, parts of it. Are we intending to maybe do that in other parts of our land development code, or is this just because this consultant that did this liked to do that? Or is it?
So we are currently talking to a consulting firm in regards to rewriting the entire land development code. So this is merely a toe in the water, if you will, as far as bringing us forward in the future.
I have a suggestion for the city manager. Before you sign a contract to do that, we need to have a workshop and talk about it. Yes. The council I'm talking about. Okay. All right. I was just interested because, I mean, I kind of like some of the examples that are in there. It gives clarity to it. So, yeah. Okay. All right.
All right. Any other questions?
No, I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve ordinance O-25-08 on the second reading with the changes to the drive-through facilities being a conditional use and other things as already suggested.
Second.
Does that cover it?
Is that
Mr.
good enough?
Benton, that fine? Madam Attorney?
Yes, as they're illustrated in the book with those changes, that's fine.
Thank you. Very good. We got a motion and a second. Anyone from the public?
So that's all the red marks on ours, that's in ours, the changes with the strike-throughs, right? And our agenda package, what are you talking about?
Those are the changes that were made since first reading, to clarify those.
Right.
As directed, right?
Anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? Anyone on Zoom?
No, at this time.
Any further discussion? Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Dixon?
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
And Councilmember Nunn?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Lisa. Up to item 11B, second reading, public hearing, and adoption of ordinance O-25-09, amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Sebastian, Chapter 30, relating to businesses in order to comply with revisions of the Florida statutes. Madam Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. This is ordinance number 02509, an ordinance of the City of Sebastian, Florida, amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Sebastian by amending Chapter 30, Businesses, amending the title of Article 2 to read Local Business Tax Receipts, amending Section 30-30 to designate administrative authority to the Director of the Building Department, amending Section 30-35 to designate administrative authority to the Director of the Building Department, amending Section 30-37, list of exemptions, and in order to comply with Florida Statute Section 205.055 and Section 205.162 as related to veterans, qualified low-income applicants, disabled persons, widows with minor dependents, and persons 65 years of age or older, amending Section 30-40 to designate administrative authority to the Director of the Building Department, providing for codification, conflicts, severability, scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
And again, we're doing this to comply with the changes of the Florida statutes.
Yes, sir.
Get us
It
in
is.
compliance. Anything else to add to that, Mr. Esseltine?
No, we did have the first reading, and we neglected to put in the exceptions under 205.162 of Florida statutes, which included the disabled persons, widows with minor dependents, and the aged. So we've added that in there now.
Council, any questions for Mr. Esseltine? No. Would you like to proceed?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance O-25-09.
Second.
All right, get a motion and a second. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? Anyone on Zoom?
Not at this time.
Any further discussion? Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Vice Mayor Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Dixon?
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Councilmember Nunn?
Yes.
And Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Leads us up to item 11C, second reading, public hearing and adoption of ordinance O-25-10, amending Land Development Code Article 7, general regulations relating to home occupational licenses, also known as home-based businesses. Madam Attorney?
Thank you, Mayor. This is ordinance number 025-10, an ordinance of the City of Sebastian, Florida, amending Land Development Code Section 54-2-7.21, home occupational licenses to home-based business tax receipts to be in compliance with Florida statutes, providing for severability and repeal of laws in conflict herewith, providing for codification, scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Ms. Bernard, this is yours.
Good evening. This is the second and final hearing for the home-based business proposed ordinance to keep us in compliance with Florida statutes. As you heard on the May 14th meeting, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Council, any question for Ms. Bernard?
No.
No, I would like to mention once again for all of our people watching at home, this is another example of the state of Florida taking the control away from local government and giving it to themselves.
But let me say, if I understand it right, there was discussion at the state level about doing away with our ability to exercise parking control on a home-based business, but that was not included in the final piece of legislation, correct?
It was not.
It was not, yeah. Yeah, that's right. I mean, I noticed in item 2 under B, it's got that we include the parking regulations on that, so. So for all of you who heard that and think you have a home-based business and the state gave you ability to park 40 cars in front of your house, you can't do it.
Yep. 39 is good, though.
39 is okay, but 40 don't. Oh, don't say that.
No, no.
All right, Council, how do you wish to proceed on ordinance O-25-10?
I make a motion to approve O-25-10.
Second.
All right, a motion is second. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? Anyone on Zoom?
Not at this time.
All right, roll call, Ms. Williams.
Councilmember Dixon?
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Councilmember Nunn?
Yes.
Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
And Vice Mayor Jones?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All
Thank
right,
you.
thank you. We have no unfinished business. New business, item 13A, consideration of resolution R-25-18, approval of the amendment to public transportation grant agreement FM 448113-1-94-01 and authorize the city manager or designee to execute. Mr. Sabo, this is yours.
Do you have it? There we go, good. I wasn't sure. Looking for a green light, not red. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor and Council. This is an amendment to a previously accepted and approved public transportation grant from the state. I believe it was back in February. And at that time, the decision was made by the state to split the total project for this funding over 2 of their fiscal years. State's fiscal year begins in July, and they've been nice enough to start the execution process on this early so that we'll know that we have these funds in hand ready to proceed coming up in July and can go ahead and start our bid process to go out in this. The original grant was the same as what the amendment is. These 2 together bring us up to the total needed to start on the taxiway project.
All right, thank you, sir. Any questions for Mr. Sabo?
I just want to point out that this is only for the approval of the city's ability to accept the grant and the fact that the council agrees that the city can do their 20% matching from DST. It's not an authorization to expend funds or to do the construction. That'll come later. So we're basically approving the grant. It says in here under expected expenditure required $987,000, but this actually has no expenditures tied to this particular approval. It's for the city's ability to do the grant. So.
That's correct, sir. Okay. This is just the acceptance of the grant.
And then, given that, I'll move approval.
Do we have a picture of that there? Can we put it up and show that location there at the airport?
We do.
So, yeah.
So on the screen right now, you can see It's a little difficult to see, but the blue highlighted area, so this is all taking place in the northern portion of the airport. You've got the Public Works compound, and then you come in and we've got Skydive Sebastian and some of those areas. So the blue highlighted area is where the taxiway construction will be. And then the apron construction will take place in the yellow highlighted area within that portion of the airport.
Great. Second.
A motion and a second. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? Anyone on Zoom?
No, at this time.
Any further discussion? Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Councilmember Nunn?
Yes.
Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jones?
Yes.
And Councilmember Dixon?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Leads us up to item 13B, consideration of selecting infrastructure, consulting, and engineering for construction services on the taxiway golf project under CSA 14 and authorize the city manager or designee to execute. Mr. Sabo?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. This infrastructure consulting and engineering is one of three engineering firms that is retained by the city to do different airport projects. They had previously been selected to do the engineering design phase of this, and we just felt it's to our benefit to keep their expertise and hand involved in moving forward with the construction services, since they designed everything and are most familiar with the project and what needs to be done with it.
Thank you. Council, any questions for Mr. Sabo? Any wish to proceed on item 12B?
I move approval of item 12B. Now we have to spend that money we just approved. Take it. Second.
All right. You got a motion and a second. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this matter? Anyone on Zoom?
Not at this time.
Any further discussion? Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Councilmember Nunn?
Yes.
Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Dixon?
Yes.
And Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Accept item 13C, consideration of Amendment 4 to the agreement between the City of Sebastian and International Golf Maintenance to extend the agreement, implement not to exceed budget amounts for the remaining contract terms, and authorize the city manager to execute all appropriate documentation. Mr. Gardner.
I'll get this one started since
Okay.
Jessica isn't here, just to kind of get it started, and then we can go to Greg for any specifics on questions or anything of that nature. So just to clarify, so the city did release a request for proposal, RFP 25-12, for Sebastian Municipal Golf Course Maintenance back in late February. This was part of our plan, as we had discussed last year with the contract and the renewals, and we wanted to go out and kind of see what was out on the market and look into our possibilities. With that, we received 5 proposals, and staff was unable to negotiate favorable terms with any of the proposers. Therefore, we did make the determination that in the best interest of the golf course, the funds that were available at the golf course, to reach out to IGM and see if they were willing to negotiate back with us to extend their existing contract out to the term limit, which was another 4 years. So what you have before you tonight is our request to execute the remaining 4-year renewal period with Amendment 4, extending the agreement through September 30th of 2029. This will lock in pricing for the duration of the agreement with scheduled increases beginning in fiscal year 2026, and also incorporates a comprehensive improvement plan, communication plan, maintenance guidelines, and an agricultural plan designed to enhance service delivery and align course conditions with customer expectations. All of those elements were included in our RFP this year, and so based on that, we request approval. And once again, I have Mr. Gardner here if you have any specific questions in regards to this.
Council, any questions for Mr. Benton?
So,
or Mr. Gardner?
Mr. Mayor, if I can, I do see in Appendix 4, there is a price adjustments that can be requested from the contractor. I know that we have the price contracted, but we have also, they've also come back to us before and requested price adjustments. I bring that up as a point. The price is set, but I would hope they wouldn't come back next year and say, oh, well.
Isn't there a 3% gap on that, Brian?
So we have outlined and we have selected, and they have agreed to the current terms of the agreement, in which it outlines what the city is willing under the contract terms to increase the amount on. However, as you pointed out in Appendix 4, price adjustments similar to what happened with different things, tariffs and different things that we're dealing with across the board in a lot of areas, they can come back and request additional increases on these terms. However, they've got to justify those increases, and those increases also have to be accepted by the city. So those aren't, the only increases that are guaranteed are what is identified within your packet as Exhibit B to this addendum, which showcases the agreement, the increases as we go forward in future years.
All right, any additional questions for Mr. Benton or Mr. Gardner?
Yeah, I have one for probably Mr. Gartner. I was looking through this contract, or the items that IGM is going to take care of. I don't see rolling of the greens anywhere in here. Is that projected out somewhere, or is it in here and I'm just missing it, or we're not rolling the greens?
Well, greens rolling is accomplished. Matter of fact, it's being done this week. It's being done every day this week, actually. It's typically, we will roll them after aerification. And then from that point on, it will be a as-needed basis on rolling.
And that's in here somewhere, because I don't see it. I don't know that. I don't see it. You're holding them to that? Or
I'm sorry?
Are you holding them to that, the rolling of the greens after aerification? Or how is that accomplished? You just go out and do it? I mean, it's not in this document that I have, is it? What I'm saying is I don't see it in the document.
Right. The rolling of the greens will be done. If it needs to be done, we'll certainly make sure and get the roller out there. Again, it's typically done after aerification always. But then, other than after aerification, rolling will be done. There's no set schedule on rolling. It'll just have to be, we'll assess the greens all the time. We do every day, basically. And if they need rolled, they'll certainly get rolled.
Any additional
That's
questions?
all I have. No,
That's
I'm
all
good
you
right
have?
now. Yeah.
I think, Mr. Mayor, just to address Councilmember Nunn's concerns about price adjustments, under Appendix 4, Item 1.1, price adjustments, the second item under there basically says they can request it, and the city can allow it, and then it limits it to some crazy price index stuff, but it not to exceed 3% of the current year's annual contract price. So there is a 3% limit to what they can do unless we agree to let them have more than 3%.
Okay.
Okay.
You want to make a motion on this item?
I do want to ask a question, and Vice Mayor Jones brought a good point about rolling the greens up. Aerification is listed in here, but rolling the greens is not listed in here, and I think his point probably was as much that you can't hold somebody to something that's not in the contract. Mm-hmm. And should it be in the contract, I think is probably really where the question goes down to. Aerification is in the contract, but rolling the greens isn't. And I'm not saying they won't do it, but honestly, they could look at us and say, well, it's nowhere in the contract that we should do that. You're going to have to do that yourself. Is that an issue?
We have representatives from IGM here. Can you guys come up here for a second for a question? Good evening. Can you just introduce yourself, just for the record?
Good morning, or good evening. I'm sorry, I had a colonoscopy a little while ago, so I'm still a little foggy. My name is Stan Morozic. I am the golf course superintendent here at Sebastian Golf Course.
So Stan, what is your recommendation on rolling the greens?
Rolling the greens is normally performed after aerification.
Okay.
Okay, so it's standard procedure. Whenever we aerify, we follow up with a roller. It smooths the surface out, takes any imperfections out from aerification.
And are you okay with us adding that identification, that language within this agreement as stated right
yes.
here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Is there any other?
It needs to be identified as a part of the aerification procedure.
Okay.
Can you come to the mic, Brian?
Yeah,
can we come to the mic?
Sorry,
can you come to the mic, sir? We can't hear.
If you want that to be a part of the aerification procedure, we can definitely add that. That's not an issue, but it is a standard procedure that we follow after aerification and sanding to roll them and smooth them out, okay? There may be times during the year that we roll instead of mow, okay? If there's not a whole lot of turf growth, it's better to roll greens than it is to mow. So it is going on the golf course, okay?
Well, that part we can understand. It's just, you have to understand it from our position. When we see, when things come before us, we have to have concrete information as to what's going to take place in a contract. And having that not being in there, you can say, well, it's not in the contract. You guys need to add another $100,000 next year to add the rolling in or something. You know what I mean? That's something that we can't deal with. We need to have absolute when we're talking about this.
You need it right.
Yes.
We can definitely do that.
It's kind of like having open heart surgery. You know, the stitches at the end are included in the thing. So it's probably the same thing, you know? You aerate, you gotta roll them. You know, it's not done until it's rolled, you know?
Would you, on page, in the document under their plans appendix, it's not 9 of 15, it's 222 of our page. Would you add that under, at the top of the page, which is under greens, is aerification 2 times per year during the growing season? Would you say aerification and rolling at that place? Would that be the way to add that?
Yes, based on what they're saying, it would be added to the aerification part of it, because that's what it is. It's part of the aerification, right?
Okay, all right. All right.
4-3.
So we will add it underneath certain elements. It'll be added underneath as long as you all agree to it right now.
Yes.
Putting green maintenance, we'll add, because that's obviously the green. Greens, collars, and approaches, you don't typically roll those. What about tee boxes? Do you typically roll those? So the only area we would add it to
reconstructed, no. But
is
typical maintenance stuff.
1.4.1 underneath aerification. We will outline rolling of the greens in that area as well.
You're still on page 222, right, Brian?
221.
221, that's for putting greens.
221.
If that's the only change, I'll try to make a motion.
Yes.
Hold on.
Okay, I move we approve.
Hold on.
Wait.
Just making sure we're clear. So under 1.4, you're amending 141, not 142, 143, 144?
We are
Which ones?
only amending 141.
Yeah, putting greens.
But you got to also amend 1.42, which is aerification of the greens themselves.
No, 142 is the green collars and approaches.
You're not going to do those?
No, not the collars,
it's just
the
the
greens.
Okay,
Okay.
just the greens, but that says greens, collars, and approaches, putting green maintenance. Where's the actual maintenance for the other greens
Putting green maintenance.
under aerification?
Correct, so putting green maintenance is the putting surface.
Okay, so you're saying, okay, all right.
Yeah, and then where it says greens,
In my
it's plural
small mind, I'm
greens,
thinking you're talking
collars.
about the practice putting
Well,
green.
that's what I was thinking. It could be just the putting green too, and not the rest of
I'm
the green.
thinking about the practice putting
yeah.
green. I understand what you're saying now.
So just for clarification
Okay.
purposes, we will clarify that as well. It says putting green maintenance. We will say course, entire course, putting green maintenance.
yeah.
So it includes entire course.
Okay.
You can make that change as well.
That's fine. Okay,
Is
so,
that agreeable to the contractor, the vendor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
We have some language we can provide to you for approval on this.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
That works.
In line with that? Okay, thank you.
All right, so you got a motion, Mr. Don?
yeah, I move we approve, where are we now? What are we approving? The actual particular document.
This is,
The contract,
on page 212.
yeah.
RFP 25-12.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, RFP 25-12, Sebastian Municipal Golf Course Maintenance Facility, to include a modification to section 1.4 to indicate that, that after aerification, greens will also be rolled.
Second.
A motion and a second. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? Anyone on Zoom?
Not this time.
Any further discussion? Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Dixon?
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
And Councilmember Nunn?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, leads up to item D, consideration for approval of resolution number R-25-14, approving budget adjustments for FY 2024, quarter 4, ending September 30th, 2024. This is Big Brian's?
I can get it started, and then you can ask Mr. Stewart if you have any specific questions. So the first item before you all tonight, Resolution R2514. This encompasses the budget amendments that took place in Q4 of fiscal year 23-24. So just to clarify, these budget amendments were already highlighted and shown within our auditing process, and it had all these adjustments and everything were shown in those financial figures that were included. And so what you're seeing tonight is just Exhibit A that outlines each individual budget adjustment that took place in Q4. Amen. And if you all have questions specific, Brian's here.
All right. Council, any questions for Mr. Stewart? No. All right. How do you want to proceed with this item?
No, I'll go ahead, Mr. Mayor, I'll go ahead and move approval Resolution R-25-14, approving the budget adjustments for fiscal year 24, Q4, ending September 30th, 2024.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? Anyone on Zoom?
Not at this time.
Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Vice Mayor Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Dixon?
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Councilmember Nunn?
Yes.
And Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Leads up to item E, consideration of approval of Resolution R-25-15, approving budget adjustments for FY 2025, Q1 ending December 31st, 2024. Mr. Benton?
Yes, I'll take this one, and he can take, and I'll let Mr. Stewart take the third one on the agenda, because these are the easier of the three. So this one here is showcasing our budget adjustments that took place in Q1 of FY 24-25. It would have been the quarter that ran from October 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024. In your packet, you have outlined every single one of those, specifically in the first item, adjustments affecting fund balances and reserves, with those items that projects and adjustments between accounts. And then the second area, adjustments not affecting fund balance and reserves. And just to clarify, any adjustments that are made that come are completely shown on here, but anything we utilize, and it's been my standard practice that if we're using any reserve funds, those items are always brought to council for your approval before we ever use reserve funds, with the exception of R&R, which is allocated on a budget basis of $275,000. But still, if it reaches the threshold of procurement that goes over $25,000, then that comes to you all as well. But those would also be captured within this budget amendment. So a lot of these you would have already seen. However, if you have any specific questions, actually on this one, I'll address those because Mr. Stewart wasn't here at the time, but I can answer any questions on this one as well.
All right, Council, any questions from Mr. Benton? Resolution R-25-15. How you wish to proceed on this item?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve Resolution R-25-15, approving budget adjustments for fiscal year 2025, Q1, ending December 31st, 2024.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? Anyone on Zoom?
Not at this time.
All right, roll call, Ms. Williams.
Councilmember Dixon?
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Councilmember Nunn?
Yes.
Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
And Vice Mayor Jones?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Leads up to item 13F, consideration of approval of Resolution R-25-16, approving budget adjustments for FY 2025, Q2, ending March 31st. Mr. Stewart, you're on.
Go for it.
Okay, so this is a similar one as the previous one. It's also the budget adjustments. You may note that I rearranged what you may be used to look into, and like Mr. Benton was saying, the top section would include the adjustments affecting fund balance, which are required to be approved by council, and the bottom section is items of note, of significance, that only required approval of the city manager. And also in this specific item, we included the quarterly financial report for the second quarter ending March 31st, 2025. And you will notice a different format in it as well. At the top, you'll see the revenues and how they do are doing compared to prior year at this same time, and then also compared to the budget as a whole. And so you'll have a revenue section, an expenditure section, and also on the third page of that, you would have a cash and investment sections. And this is what I remember Mr. Dodd mentioning that we discussed, that we would show all of your current balances in cash or in investments. And also we have a little section to the right showing the interest earned compared to prior year at the same time. And then on the back is the standard capital project status report that you're used to seeing.
All right, thank you, Mr. Stewart. Council, any questions for Mr. Stewart?
This is getting close.
I'm open to suggestions, whatever you would like to see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about everybody else on the council, but I'm interested in looking at these quarterly reports, not only seeing what the transactions were in and out of certain accounts. I'm anxious to see what the overall status of the financial position of the company or the city is. And the quarterly reports is the only place that I see that. I mean, I don't come in and look at your monthly financials and your financial statements and spread and so forth, chart of accounts and all that kind of stuff. So I'm interested in seeing enough detail to understand where we are from a revenue projection against where we thought we would be, and where we are in an expense projection and from where we thought we would be. That's important to me to understand that I'm exercising my fiduciary responsibility to the citizens. Don't want to sit up here and bemoan other cities, but there are cities within our region that have big issues right now because nobody did that. And it's the council's responsibility ultimately to do that. So when you say the only thing that we're required to approve are certain transactions, that's not good enough from my perspective as a council member. And I'm in your third thing here, you're starting to get really close to what I'd like to see. There may be more detail, and ultimately we need to just work through that. And I'll talk to Brian or talk to you or however we want to do that about what the potential detail is on that.
Absolutely. Feel free to discuss it with me, come by.
Yeah.
And we'll work something out.
Yeah.
This is the first version, and it's likely to be improved on.
Yeah.
There's actually a fund balance line below the revenues and expenditures, but actually the actual changes in the fund balance that I have been working on, but wasn't ready in time for this report, but you may see in the future.
Yeah. And I know it's not part of this maybe, and maybe it is, but one of the things that I have had for a long time issues with is we approve stuff piecemeal. I mean, it's that simple. We do piecemeal approvals. We might decide we've got a project for like the Riverview Park, $2 million project, and we might approve that over 10 purchases or 20 purchases. And what I'm interested in is, from my perspective, is understanding where we are in relation to that total project. And when I look at financial transactions, I'm interested in seeing what that does to that total project. I think we get some of that stuff on a quarterly report from Brian where he shows project status. I think you've got some in here, and we can see how that plays out. But for me, my ultimate responsibility is making sure that we don't have a financial surprise as a city, given that I don't do the books and don't want to do the books. Don't even want to talk about doing the books, but that we have, we don't have any financial surprises as a city, and we're beginning to get the information here to do that. One of the interesting things was I noticed that you've got the Florida Prime account. You've actually got some money in here where you put it in there. Is it Florida Prime?
So, Mr. Mayor, if I can confirm, so Florida Class was the most recent one you all approved?
Yeah, Florida Class.
But
and you're getting a pretty good return on that money compared to what you were getting before. I think that's that's the thing that our citizens need to understand is that a lot of changes are going on. I mean, we're getting a much better return on that $8 million that's in there, whatever is in there. We're getting a much better return than we were getting before on those funds by moving them into that account.
Yes, sir. It was moved after 3/31, so it wouldn't show in this report.
Yeah.
But we did move $8 million.
Yeah.
I think it was in the 1st of May. And we're getting around 4.5% on that money versus the 1.15% we were getting. So it'll show up in the next quarterly report, and you'll be able to see that difference.
Okay. So, I move approval.
Second.
All right, get a motion and a second. Anyone from the public wish to speak on item, resolution R-25-16? Anyone on Zoom?
Not at this time.
Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor, if I may. So I just want to get a little bit of clarification from Councilmember Dodd on two things. So the first item you had mentioned was looking at the revenues and comparing it to what we had budgeted and where we currently were. So on page 239, is that what you're referencing, or would you like, and first let me preface that by saying all five of you have full approval from me on these financial reports to go and speak with Brian and kind of have him work it into, because I want to also clarify that when Brian started, he and I have had numerous discussions, and some of the changes that are being made are being driven by me, not necessarily by Mr. Stewart.
Well,
so I want to clarify that.
Yeah, and I understand that, and the reason I haven't actually gone and talked to him is I know what kind of an 8-ball he's been behind, trying to catch up and get things moving, and I felt like that me going in and spending time talking about quarterly reports wasn't going to help him get done with the stuff he's got to get done. So I think we're 3 months in, and he's hopefully had a chance to get himself caught up a little bit on what's going on. So I would think within the next month or so, I'll go in and we'll sit down and talk, and then we can kind of go from there. Okay. I did not want, you and I have talked about some of this stuff, but I didn't want to spend time with him and stop him from doing the stuff that he's doing. I know he's trying to catch up on stuff, so.
Okay. Yeah. And then the second thing was in regards to cost on projects. So in the monthly report that you all receive from me at the beginning of every month, you can track it to a certain extent. It doesn't completely break it down into individual portions of a project. But if you look at what's encumbered, that's what we currently have active POs.
Right.
So if a project is $1 million project and you look at that monthly report, in addition to all the other details that are shown in regards to the original budget and the comments that are provided by staff, the finance department also does show the encumbered amount. So you would know where we stand on an encumbered amount. So you'll see an expended, so you have to add expended portion and encumbered. Because expended means the PO has been closed, and that's what we paid for that portion of the PO of the project. Encumbered is just it's open, but that's what we anticipate spending in the PO.
Yeah, that should be the difference between the original budget and what we've already spent. Or
correct, and you would be able to see that in that monthly report.
Right, yeah, I understand.
But we're open to whatever, like I said, there were some changes. Yeah. I'll take it on myself. I've requested changes with Mr. Stewart, and a lot of these changes were driven by me, and I know that, when we get into certain, discussions on this, I just want to be clear on that. So I'm completely open to having those discussions, see me, or you all have the authority to go and see Brian on these items as well.
Yeah. And I think you'll get some good comments there in the next budget advisory meeting when they see this. So.
Well, I think Mr. Stewart already got some of those things you're already looking from the last budget advisory, from what I understood when I watched what was happening. So there's more changes coming from there as well. So things that we'd like to see, they'd like to see on there, so they can report to us. But I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you.
All right, anything additional? A motion and a second. Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Councilmember Nunn?
Yes.
Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jones?
Yes.
And Councilmember Dixon?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Leads up to item 13G, consideration of a purchase order for Coleman Fire Protection for $79,300 to install law enforcement dockhouse stations and authorize the city manager or designee to execute. Mr. Benton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Once again, I'm kind of standing in for Ms. Graham, our procurement manager. This item is the exact same as what you approved from the CRA. It had to be approved with CRA because we're utilizing CRA funding as the match to the fine grant. So we request approval from City Council to move this project forward.
Council, any wish to proceed?
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase order for Coleman Fire Protection.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second. Get the second.
Okay. The next item is a waiver of the procurement on that. Is that an active item? It's in our agenda packet.
No, we included that so that you would see the staff report from last meeting. It was included as the first attachment, so you would recollect waiving the procurement process.
Got a motion and a second. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? Anyone on Zoom?
Not at this time.
Roll call, Ms. Williams.
Councilmember Nunn?
Yes.
Mayor McPartlin?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Dixon?
Yes.
And Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Leads us up to Madam Attorney, you have anything for us tonight?
Yes, sir, I do. Thank you, Mayor. I have given you all a piece of paper at your seats for you to follow along a little bit, but at this time, I'm asking that the council meet in a shade meeting pursuant to Florida statute sections 286.011, parens 8, in a closed session regarding litigation to provide direction to the city attorney and our outside counsel regarding Gilliams v. Sebastian, an appellate court case, which we thought was concluded but is still pending litigation. That case number is 24 AP02. This session will be recorded by a certified court reporter and will be attended by the city council, city manager, and that court reporter. So I'm asking that you give reasonable public notice of the time and date of that session, along with the names, and then we'll publish it for potentially the next meeting if you're available. Mr. Mai is available on that next meeting date in June. I believe it's June 11th.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, I won't be here.
Okay.
So if
Well-
you need me or not,
You could set it, you don't have to have it on a council meeting date. It's up to you.
okay. Mr. Benton, you have any thoughts on that?
I will make myself available. When are you leaving?
I'm leaving 2 weeks from today. Then I'll be back in time for the second meeting of the month.
You're going to be gone the week of the 8th and the 15th?
The 8th I'll be here.
The week of the 8th you'll be here?
Yes.
So June the 11th?
Well, I'm leaving on the 10th.
Oh, you're leaving on the 10th?
Yes.
Okay.
So
I mean, we don't,
availability for the 4th?
What's, Brian, you got any idea? I know it's difficult, but right now, you got any idea what your agenda may look like on the 11th? Do you see it being very crowded?
I'm looking at staff. I know that we will have a couple
I see some
items.
yos and yays and, well, we can make it light, Dan, how about that? I'm wondering, would it be possible for us to maybe move that meeting to the 4th?
Oh, I don't think so because we would have to have the agenda out to the public by Friday, and that's not possible.
Oh, this Friday, you mean?
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Now I understand why you can't do it the 4th.
I mean,
We could have that meeting on the 4th.
right.
Could we move the council meeting to the 9th, which is a Monday? It doesn't say we have to be on a Wednesday,
it's
as long as
the-
we got enough notice time.
It says shall regularly meet at least once a month.
Yeah.
So we don't know the council chamber. We can reschedule if there is a meeting on the 9th. I don't recall there being anything on the 9th.
She's in,
So if you all are fine with that, we can move the meeting to the 9th. Just with the understanding, our agenda still probably won't get posted until Thursday, if you all are still fine with that.
I have no problem with that.
Sounds good?
Yeah.
Everybody good?
That's fine.
He's still talking to his staff. They're smiling.
Yeah.
They're all on board.
Do we need a motion to do that?
We could do it the 9th.
Do we need a motion to do that?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I move that we move the June 11th council meeting to June the 9th, starting at 6 PM with a attorney-client confidential session starting at 5 PM. Is that okay with everybody up here?
Yeah, 5 o'clock for the,
For the shade meeting?
Yeah.
5 o'clock?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right.
Got a motion?
I made the motion. Do I have a second?
Pending confirmation with Mr. Mai, but yeah.
Oh,
He'll be
yeah.
on Zoom if he can't be in person, so.
Well,
I'm-
if he can't, then we have to move the confidential meeting, but we can still do the council meeting that night.
Right, yeah.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right,
Thank
See you
you.
on the 9th. Maybe staff has to stay late tonight to get their agendas in order. All right. Any other matters, Madam Attorney?
Not at this time.
Mr. Benton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So in front of you tonight, if I can have staff also put the Barber Street item on the screen. But in front of your seats tonight, I just wanted to highlight something because this is a major project within the city. Just waiting for it to be put on the screen. There we go. So this is the repaving of a significant portion from approximately Acorn Terrace, which is known as the curve area on Barber Street, all the way to US 1. This project is going to last for an entire month. We had kind of held off on this, doing it during the school year because of the impacts it would have on the school. So what you see tonight and in front of you, and I do want to preface this that it shows starting on Monday, but it is still a little bit tentative. Obviously, we know weather. They're currently paving in other parts of the city, of the state. So weather could play a little bit of a factor in this. But as of today, this is the schedule tentatively that we have. And I want to highlight phase 1 are the apron areas, the approaches to Barber Street on a number of side streets throughout that entire corridor. So those are all highlighted in yellow. And within those areas, that'll take place next week, June 2nd through June 6th. Then you've got the green phase 2 that will go from Acorn Terrace all the way up until 300 feet short of Schumann Drive. So that section will be done in that area, staying short of Schumann Drive on phase 2, which is Monday, June 9th to Friday, June 13th. Phase 3 goes from Schumann all the way down until we get to the right-hand turn there at Pelican Island Place in that area there, June 16th through Friday, June 20th. Phase 4, June 23rd through June 27th, will go from the right-hand turn on Barber all the way to the railroad tracks. And then phase 5 is going to be a night project that will go from the railroad tracks to US 1 to try to minimize the impacts there around the Publix Plaza within that general vicinity there. And that will be Sunday night, June 29th, and Monday night, June 30th. So as you can see, it's basically a full month project. They will be in that area. I just ask, we're going to have MOT, we're going to have police officers in the area assisting with with traffic, but I do ask for some patience from our residents. This is a much needed area to be paved, but there is going to be some inconvenience caused by this. So we would just, ask everyone's patience, avoid this area if possible. I know it's hard to do for an entire month, but we're doing it this way so that we don't let what happened on Schumann happen again, where it was completely cleared and milled all the way down. Well, was thought to be 2 inches of pavement, really wasn't 2 inches, so it took it all the way down to the road base. And we're trying to prevent that from happening in large sections. So that's why we're phasing this project in. If you have specific questions on this project, Mr. Plord is here. But I just wanted to make the public aware and make sure council was aware of this as well.
Are you going to have to completely close the street in any of these phases?
No, it'd be single lane closures,
Okay,
Council.
single lane
Good evening.
closures, all right.
Single lane closures.
Well, it's badly needed, so. Yeah, Lee, is some of this going to be, is this all just paving or some of this, what they call it, the full depth?
Reclamation,
What they call it,
FDR process,
the 10
phase
inches
2.
down?
Phase
That's
2
in
will be
phase 2?
FDR. Will be full depth.
Very good, very good. Very good, I like it.
Just kind of highlighting on that will get us all the way complete with all of our paving projects through this fiscal year. So we will be completely caught up with everything that had kind of been on the books for the past few years. So we'll be fully caught up and we'll be looking forward to moving forward on our paving plan. We will go out for a new assessment next fiscal year, but we do already have next year's roads planned. And the assessment will help us as we go forward into future years. But that is all that I have for you all tonight. Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Nothing tonight.
Nothing else? Okay, Mr. Dodd.
Okay, if you haven't, I don't know, if you haven't buried your head or been in a cave for the last 6 weeks, you've probably heard a lot about property taxes and ad valorem taxes and the pursuit to do away with those. Representative Brackett told me that the other day that they're going to have road shows all over the state, this committee that he's involved in, to try to look at that. I would encourage our residents to wait and find out when they're meeting in this region and go talk to them. Doing away with ad valorem taxes sounds really nice on the surface, but when you look at the details, it is not nice. Right now, the city of Sebastian, we collect in ad valorem taxes more than $1 million less than it costs to run our police department. So if we don't collect any ad valorem taxes, we don't have a police department. Unless we quit paving streets and we quit doing stormwater and we quit doing everything else, we don't have a police department. And we're not alone in that. Most cities are that way. And so I would encourage the residents to be cognizant of the fact that all of that stuff sounds really nice from a political point of view when you talk about what I'm going to do to make you good, but it's not a nice thing. And think about possibly talking to your representatives, the senator for this area and the House member for this area about the negative impact of that, because it is going to be a negative impact on the city if it happens. So that's it for me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Dodd. Vice Mayor Jones.
Yes, I want to thank the staff that showed up for Memorial Day, our audio-visual staff that showed up. It was hot out there. They did a great job of videoing that, and I want to thank all the residents for showing up and showing their support for the fallen men and women who fought for this country. And we had a lot of people out there that day, and it really warmed my heart to see the number of folks that showed up for that, to honor our fallen men and women who paid the ultimate sacrifice for this country. So I'd just like to thank them, and definitely thank our staff for put up with that heat. I know I got really hot out there because I had a suit on, so. But it was wonderful to see all of the people that showed up to honor the fallen, and I'd just like to recognize them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. And that's true. They did a fantastic job, Brian. All the staff that was out there, the sound just seems to get better and better. The one thing I would see about is a little shade out there, you know? So we could do that. Mr. Nunn.
Yes, sir. I was going to agree completely with both of you about Memorial Day, and I know if our future plans are not to move that whole setup there for the Veterans Memorial, then I would love to see us move forward with shade for that area. It would be very helpful on hot days like that. And I would also like to echo Mr. Dodd, Councilmember Dodd's sentiments. None of us want to pay taxes. None of us want to pay more taxes. None of us want to pay any taxes. But you have to understand where the money goes and what it goes to support, especially for your local taxes. Do I agree that maybe there's some national, some federal stuff that could be, reduced and things like that? Of course. If they reduce property taxes at all, something has to give, either services or they have to find other money from something else. Your police department's not going away, so that means they have to find other places to pull income from. So honestly, the system works well. It works well nationwide. There's not a state in the country that doesn't have property taxes because nobody's found a more appropriate way of assigning taxes to pay for your local services than property taxes. So I just encourage you to look, listen, and hear what's being said and evaluate it. It sounds good, but have some real discussions. You'll find out it's not really that great. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, before I go on, I'd like to say I left out the parks folks too, and everybody else from the city staff that was at the park. Thank you all. I didn't want to leave anyone out. I just want to make sure we understand that parks staff that was there and everybody else. Our city manager was there as well. Thank you guys.
All right, thank you. Ms. Dixon.
Yes, I do. For the past 2 years, 2.5 actually, I have passionately served this community with a purpose,
to be the voice for the many families who call our paradise home. I made it my mission to make sure this council and City Hall fully understood the demographics of our town and that they've changed through change of leadership, staff, and community outreach. We have more programming and opportunities for children and families, and I'm so grateful. This mission is not done, but sadly, my time up here on this dais is. Tonight is my last meeting as a member of the City Council. Due to a myriad of personal reasons, I have decided to step down, effective immediately. I will forever be grateful for your trust, enthusiastic acceptance, and the opportunity to serve this town I love these past 2.5 years. I did not want to cry. I do hope you guys will see another woman up here with passions that I shared and a family-forward approach. Thank you all for this opportunity of a lifetime.
All right, well, thank you, Kelly. You'll be missed. All right. Being no further business, meeting's adjourned. Oh,
Mr. Mayor.
hold on, hold it
Mr. Mayor,
back.
before you join.
Okay, Madam Attorney?
With your vacancy, then you're going to need to address how to fill that. So I have copies of the charter for you, and you can schedule it for a next meeting if you could just pass it down.
I guess we could discuss it, but we'll look at probably filling the position at the next election, and that'd be a one-year term.
Well, you have 2 options in the charter, so if you could, everybody get a copy, take a minute to.
Well, while you're looking at that, I want to say that Kelly Dixon has been, it's been my honor to serve with you. She's been a real asset to this council, and she's a couple of times kept me from really getting in trouble when I was the mayor by slamming her fist on the table and telling me to be quiet. So I want to appreciate your service on the council. I really do. So that's all right.
Yeah, thank you, Kelly. We're going to miss you up here, and I'm sorry that you have to leave. I wish you could still be here, but I know there's things that you have to take care of for yourself, so we'll be here for you.
Thank you.
So you want us to discuss now, or
So
in the
you
next
can,
meeting?
that's your pleasure. You could set it for the next meeting and have a discussion and have time to review it and see what direction you want to go.
Well, if it's within 6 months of an election, I think we're obligated to fill it. Correct?
You can.
We don't. I don't. If
you
it's
can-
outside greater than 6 months.
You can appoint it, or you can do election. Is your option. So you
Well,
guys could.
Okay, if we don't, all I'm saying is if it's within 6 months of an election, we have to appoint someone to fill the vacancy. Or no, we have an opportunity not to fill the vacancy.
You have the
Yeah, but even if we decide to fill the vacancy, that individual would have to run for a one-year term at the next general election.
We can explore that in depth. Probably at the next meeting would be most wise, I would think, because it may get complicated. But the 2 options outlined in the charter is to appoint, if the election is within 6 months of an citywide election, which I believe is November 5th, the remaining members of the council may, 1, fill it at the election, or 2, appoint a replacement. Those are your 2 options under E1 of the charter, under 208.
But if we appoint a replacement, they still have to run in the November 5th election for a one-year term.
I don't know that that's actually correct. I haven't had time to research that in depth.
Well,
I believe it may be till the
E2, second paragraph.
the remainder of the term.
Okay, E2, second paragraph says, an appointed city council
Yes,
member
but
shall
that-
serve only until the next citywide election or until city council revokes that
But that's
suspension.
under E2. That's not under E1.
Okay.
So there's some things to look into, and it's
All right.
probably best to wait until the next meeting, I would think, because there's a lot, to process. But I believe the way it reads under E1 is that since it's less than 6 months before the election, the two options available to council is to fill it at the election for the remainder of the term or appoint a replacement for the remainder of the term. That's the way I believe it reads.
And I'd like to get a second opinion from someone on that, looking at the item on E2. It's very important, in my opinion, that we do this right, and I personally don't agree with that. I think item E2 specifies specifically that they have to rerun at the next election.
When it's...
Second paragraph, E2.
Yeah, I have no problem having, like, doing a deep dive on it and or getting a second opinion.
Okay.
But looking at it, if you read,
Yeah.
that subsection is underneath 2, not under 1. So,
I recall the last time that someone had to step down, and they had the election, it was for a 1-year term, and then the others were for the 2-year terms.
We're going to get challenged if we, no matter what we do, if we do it wrong. If somebody thinks we're doing it wrong, we're going to get challenged on it. So we need to be very clear that we're doing it the right way.
So more discussion at the June 9th meeting.
Our June
All right.
9th meeting, yeah.
Yes, Mr. Ben, did you have something?
Yes, I just want to say, Councilmember Dixon, thank you for your leadership. I said I wasn't going to look at you because very tenderhearted and I can't deal with that stuff. But on behalf of staff, thank you. Your direction and trying to do what's best for families, younger kids in the community. Thank you for that leadership and anything we can do to assist you. We're always here.
All right.
and
Thank you.
me too.
All right. No further business. We'll see you June 9th.